Hello,
Hi.
welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about OWN Network's reality-based TV show, Ready to Love, Season 6, Episode 7.
And today we will be focusing on a meeting with the exes. So we have Joy meeting with Clifton, LeVerne, and her ex, Sean.
Clearly, Clifton had issues with this from the gate.
He didn't like this.
Absolutely, and he let it be known to not only Joy, but anybody else who would listen.
Right, and clearly Joy gave Clifton a heads up because he more than likely revealed stuff about what occurred in his past relationship.
Yeah, he was pretty candid about that, but at least to give him some credit, at least he let that be known up front.
Absolutely.
So that going in, Joy had an idea of what to expect.
And clearly too, you could see that Joy, based on their conversation, Joy and Clifton are having a whole lot of back connections that we don't know about.
I think one of the reasons why this was uncomfortable for him is because maybe he hasn't necessarily dealt fully with that and is kind of having to deal with it in an unrealistic scenario. You know, the auspices of a show.
A contrived meeting with the ex, because the ex really have no value as it relates to a new relationship and what it's about or what have you. But again, Owen came up with this, so he has to rock and roll with it.
And to make matters worse, he had to deal with another cast member in the form of LeVerne.
And LeVerne, as we know LeVerne, he showed up early and was talking that stuff.
That ish.
That is. And we have not yet seen a vulnerable side of LeVerne. He presents this persona of being confident, and he's arrogant, and it's all about him. But it's becoming a little bit too much. If he wants to take this through to the end, you have to show some sort of vulnerability, and LeVerne is unwilling to do that. I'm not sure LeVerne is into any of these ladies to show that side of him at all.
Well, I think that in his case, he needs to kind of really think about how to present his best representative, because clearly he hasn't done that and
it's not going to do that.
Right. In the course of this season, he has not been successful about that. He's presented someone who has been narcissistic and all about himself and very superficial.
Yes.
And
yes.
that has not come across well to at least us who are watching it.
Right,
so
and
I can imagine what it would be for people who are having
to deal with him day in, day out.
Right, exactly.
Even Clifton mentioned on the date that LeVerne is going to be competitive and have that stuff, but he doesn't. He's not about all that, because clearly you could tell Clifton knows who he is.
Right, and is very unapologetic about it.
And LeVerne has no place in this show right now, because he's one-dimensional. He has the same note every time you see him.
Yeah, it's, just the whole, he's a nobody, commentary, these little snarky remarks, to other people who don't even know, what's going on and are unfamiliar with not only him but also Clifton as well. It's not necessary, it's unnecessary, and it doesn't represent him well. He thinks it does, but it doesn't, right?
But what I find interesting is that Sean, based on how this was edited, there was a back and forth between Sean and Clifton about a comment Clifton made, and Sean's response was that he was jealous.
Right.
First off, it looks like it was poorly edited, that the edits they put together didn't relate to each other, and it was confusing. And I just thought that the whole editing process, the shot selection that the director and the editor are choosing, is iffy at best.
I didn't necessarily believe that even just based on the way that it was edited, that Clifton was coming off as jealous.
No.
I think that was a reach, or maybe even an overreach on Sean's part. Maybe as relates to a question that he had asked Clifton, or a response that he had gotten from Clifton regarding something else.
Yes.
Not regarding what was seen on TV.
Sean did not appear to me to like Clifton a whole lot. It seemed like there was some sort of friction. I don't know if it was that testosterone thing going
Could
on.
have been.
But there seemed like there was some sort of, you know, ish
Mm-hmm.
on a low level,
Mm-hmm.
low frequency ish
Mm-hmm.
going on between those two guys.
Yeah, but to give Clifton some credit, he made it through the process of you know of you know clearly an uncomfortable scenario, and he was, I think he was honest and candid in his confessionals about it. I really do, and I think that he understands that he's got his strongest connection with Joy. So I didn't feel like he was threatened in any way by all the ish and all the garbage and all the mess that LeVerne brought to the scenario in the way of, you know, underhanded comments and little snarky remarks in front of Sean, in front of Joy, in front of whomever. Well, they clearly have a connection going on, and that Clifton represents much less of a
risk.
No, he represents a risk, but much less of one because of his authenticity and who he is and how his representative showed up versus LeVerne.
Right, that's exactly right, because Sean did advise Joy at the end that, you know, Clifton, although he's doing work,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to therapy and what have you,
Mm-hmm.
that he represented a risk, and Joy shut that down in her confessional
Mm-hmm.
because she believed that Clifton is a safe space, and if she jumps, he's going to be right there with her.
Right. If they go off a cliff, they're going off together.
They're going off together.
For sure, which is, I guess, one way of her saying she got his back.
Right, and there clearly is a level of trust
Absolutely.
between Clifton and Joy
Mm-hmm.
that has been working its way through this process.
Right, and there's the authenticity part of it that I think Sean picked up on when he decided that he was going to make his analysis known to Joy.
Right.
That, you know, from his vantage point, his perspective, Clifton was the better choice, but that choice came with risk in comparison to LeVerne.
Right, because he said LeVerne was superficial,
Right.
which is what we all already know. In one of his prior dates with an ex, they asked him whether he wanted to get married, and he said he would like to, but he'd like to hold off to make sure stuff is where it is, that he is where he needs to be, because if he gets married again, that will be
The last time he does
the
it.
last time he does it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, he is going to therapy, and that's good, because we encourage everyone to go through some level of therapy, because it ends up to be a good thing for you.
And Joy kind of backed him up on that. She, you know, in her confessional, she actually admitted, you know, what black man will admit that he's wrong,
Right.
and or admit that he's going to therapy
Right.
to correct
Right.
some of the wrongs about himself,
Exactly.
and how that was very appealing to her.
Right,
Yeah,
because
so-
he had an adult awareness that he may not have done certain things right,
That would have
and
caused
that would have caused
caused his marriage
his
damage.
marriage
Yeah.
damage. And perhaps he had some ghosts following him from one marriage into another, that he wants to cut that out at its knees, so it doesn't continuously follow him into the third marriage that he is going to engage in.
potentially.
Potentially.
Right.
So that's why he wants to take his time. That's why he wants to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
because clearly he realized that he was part of that destruction of his marriages,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't want to experience that again.
Absolutely.
So I applaud that.
Tip the hat to the brother for sure.
I
for sure.
applaud that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I noticed that was missing, and clearly was due to the kind of, I guess, pressure that he felt, was Clifton's sense of humor. It wasn't evident in this episode.
No, it wasn't even evident in when he met Dekia. He wasn't a happy camera.
His jovial self.
No.
You know, he
No.
wasn't. So clearly he was feeling a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, and this was like a reminder of where he was.
Right.
So, you know, that's a heavy burden to deal with.
Right, it's a heavy ask.
And you could tell that
it was weighing on him.
It was weighing on him.
Absolutely. But he made it through, and I thought that he stayed above it all, especially as it relates to, you know, the nonsense that and, you know, this kind of like faux competitiveness that LeVerne was bringing to the table as it relates to that particular meeting with Joy and himself, Clifton, and her ex, Sean. I think that was really, really something that he rose above and did.
We all need help. None of us are perfect. We all need tweaking from time to time.
And Clifton has clearly gone on that path. Maybe LeVerne needs to do the same.
Absolutely. Anywho, we thank you for listening to our commentary on the Ready to Love dating process with Clifton, Joy, LeVerne and Sean. And we thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing our channel. And we will see you on the next route. God bless you. Thank you.
Bye.